Hello, everybody, and welcome to GoFormative number 21, Math Help. Still on decimals, except for we're moving on a little bit from adding and subtracting. However, I do believe some of that is still in this one, so you can practice that again. It's time to learn about multiplying decimals. Again, like I say every time, you're probably just going to use a calculator, and that is fine. But I'd love for you to at least know how to do this by hand. So here's what I teach about multiplying decimals. The decimals don't have to line up. In this case, they're 0.4 and 0.5, so they're going to line up, but they don't have to. I always just pretend they're not, these decimals aren't there. You guys can figure out what's 4 times 5. 20, right? That's right. And then if you bring those decimals back in, you can count how many places over one place. So how many total places? 2 places over. This is important for the answer because you're going to want to move 1, 2 places over. So the answer is not going to be 20. It's going to be 0.20, or in this case, you can see 0.2. 0.2 and 0.20 are the same answer. So do the multiplication as you normally would, and then deal with the decimals afterwards. That is my advice. Let's do the next one. See how it says 2 times 0.5? Just pretend it said 2 times 5. Well, 2 times 5 is 10. Everybody kind of knows that. But now add in your decimal. How many places over 1? How many places on the top here? None. So how many total places? 1 place. That matters in the answer. Move it 1 place. So the answer to this is going to be 1.0, or just 1. Okay. Maybe you guys can try that one on your own, and maybe I'll do this one with you. So really, see how it says 4 times 0.006, right? And then, you're solving that, or even that looks kind of weird. We can probably just put the 4 on the bottom, something like that. But even that, a lot of students wouldn't know how to do that. So what I recommend is just do 4 times 6. What is that? It's 24, right? So 24 goes then for the answer. Now bring in the stuff. And now count where the decimal goes. 1, 2, 3 spots. 3 spots. No spots there. So total, how many places are you going to move the decimal? 3 times. 1, 2, and another 1. So what's going to fill in there is 0. And the answer is 0.024. That's how you do that multiplication by hand. And good luck to you as you continue. I want you to keep trying it, and practice. And if you need to pause and replay that, you can. Let's see what else they got. Here's some addition. The thing with addition is you do need to line up the decimals. See how in multiplication, if I wrote it like that, the decimals aren't lined up, right? So when you're doing addition, though, you do need to line up those decimals. Subtraction, got to line the decimals up. 2.54 minus 1.75. Line them up. And now we're subtracting. What's 4? Take away 5. We can't do that. So we have to borrow and make this a 4. We're going to borrow that. 14 take away 5 is 9. Now 4 take away 7, can't do that. Got to borrow again. 14 take away 7 is 7. And then you have 1 minus 1 is 0. So we can just leave the answer as 0.79. Match the percent to a fraction. I did teach this in class. We actually memorized these. If you can't remember, just use a calculator. Remember 3/5 is 3 divided by 5 in your calculator. Something to remember that. It's going to spit out 0.60. Obviously the answer is not 0.60, it's a percent. So when you are figuring out the percent, in your calculator, that's you timesing this by 100. What that does is it moves the decimal 2 places and becomes 60%. 60% is the same as 0.60. It's the same as 3/5. They're all the same. So reminders there on those. Here we're going to actually solve for x. 1/4 x plus 1/4 x. Just remember how to do fractions. 1/4 plus 1/4. The bottoms do not add, but the tops do. So 1 plus 1 is 2. These go together because they both have the same variable. They both have x. So really you have 2/4 x equals 15. And how do you do this? By hand, you need to do the inverse of 2/4. By doing the inverse, or some people say the reciprocal, to both sides, we can solve for x as 15 times 4 is 60 divided by 2 is 30. Or another way to do this is do this first. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 times 15 is 30. So that one's a little solve for x two-step equation mixed in with fractions. Same thing for here, almost identical. So since I just showed you, you should be able to do that. This is a one-step solve for x, which basically means for number 17, you're not having to do this step. It just jumps right down to this last step. You're going to do the reciprocal to both sides, the inverse to both sides right here. So it would be 5/1, 5/1, x is 15. It does want you to match. So if you notice down here, if the answer is 15, I don't see any of these being 15, so you have to look at them. What is the square root of 100? You could just throw that in your calculator. What times what is 100? It's the same number, it's 10. So that's not it. What squared is 9? 3, so that's not it. And I'll let you figure out which one of these is 15. How to graph these in words. Remember, we always start at the end. This piece, okay, that is the y-intercept on linear equations, okay. That is where it crosses the y-axis. This is the slope. It's going down 2 into over 3 from the starting position. So how do you say it out loud? Start at 3 on the y-axis and go down 2 over 3. I'll do it again. Start at 3 on the y-axis, then go down 2 over 3. We're going down because of that negative right there. If the negative wasn't there, we'd go up. Probability. It's kind of the first time probability popping up. Marbles in a bag. You got 3 red, 4 green, 5 blue. What is probability of pulling out a blue? The question is, how many marbles total are in the bag? 3 plus 4 plus 5. What is that going to be? 12. And then how many of them are blue? So your fraction is 5 over 12, and that's what's there. Sometimes the answer wants that in a decimal. Just divide that, 5 divided by 12, get a decimal. And they might want it in a percent. So keep that in mind as you do these, because here's the fraction one, but there'll be more in the future. So pause anytime, go look at it, subscribe. Thanks.